Good morning. Hi, this is Travis with the National Weather Service, and this is your weather hazard briefing for Sunday, April 3rd. We do have nice conditions today, but that's going to break down very quickly on Mondays. We have a very strong system that's going to be mainly a pretty strong wind impact, blowing dust, possible for trees to blow down, and maybe some power lines, but and also just a lot of tumbleweeds. I'll talk a little bit more about the impacts we're expecting here. Again, the main impacts are going to be the winds. We are going to have some actual snow above, mainly about 6,500 feet in the central mountains, and I'll show you those snow amounts have actually gone up. Looks like there could be some significant amounts, particularly in the Sawtooth areas and Galena Summit, and then also some snow along our eastern edges along the Wyoming border as well. Then we cool down quite a bit for Wednesday, but then it's going to quickly warm up after that through the end of the week. So right now we have high pressure over us, and right here is the system that's going to start moving through us tomorrow into Tuesday. Looks like this winds pick up pretty strong, starting around noon, but they pick up by 3 p.m. and peak around 6 p.m. and stay elevated overnight into Tuesday. Pretty strong winds. I'll show that in a second. Again, as I mentioned, we have really strong winds across the Snake Plain in our southwest areas. Also, probably up in the Chalice area as well. Right now, the best areas for high wind warnings are these three that I mentioned here. Otherwise, there'll be impacts for advisory type winds, sustained of 25 to 35, gusts around 40. The high wind warning will be gusts near 58, 60 miles an hour. So pretty strong winds is what we're expecting for these three areas across the Snake Plain and our South Hills. Again, mountain peaks will also see gusts around 60. And then here's, is mentioned here, fairly significant impact for snow, blowing and drifting snow, and just snow amounts 5 to 10 inches for the western slopes of the Sawtooths. I'll show you all those amounts. Today, just nice conditions, especially early on, sunny. Highs, 3 to 5 degrees above normal. Those continue near normal temperatures Monday. Again, most of this will happen by mid-afternoon, and then temperatures will start to decrease fairly quickly as that system really starts to hit us Monday evening into Tuesday. So here's the hazard. So far we have a high wind watch for all these areas highlighted. The most likely area that we'll see a high wind warning will be the Snake Plain, Eastern Magic Valley, and our southern areas here, perhaps up into the near Chalice area as well. And then all these other areas will probably just be wind advisories. These pink areas are areas that we're going to see snow 2 to 7 inches. Blowing and drifting snow, gusts of 30 to 40, potentially up to 50 miles an hour in these pink areas. Likely will be converted to a winter weather advisory. This area here will have pretty high amounts, 5 to 10, perhaps right on the edge here, western slopes up to 12 inches of snow. And blowing and drifting, very low visibility at times. Near whiteout conditions. So probably a winter storm warning in this area, but maybe a winter advisory. We'll see how the models play out in the next run or two. Here's our low and high end amounts. Our low end amount, you can see for still showing low end, 3 to 6 inches, 4 inches for this area, and then 1 to 3 inches along the Wyoming border. The high-end amounts, which are not as likely to happen, you can start to see some 8 to 12 inches, maybe even up to 18 inches. But again, this is not very likely a chance, 10% chance to happen. I'll show you the more median range in a minute. Here's a chance of getting 4 inches or more. So it's very likely we'll get 4 inches in this area. And then here's your chances of 6 inches or more as well. So right on the edges, you're starting to see near that 90 to 100, but as you go in, it's 40% chance. And then not as likely over here along the Wyoming border. Here's our wind gust, and you can see quite strong as we go into Monday afternoon. Definitely high wind warning in these areas here. the dark red and purples. And as you go into Tuesday, it still remains quite elevated. If not a high wind warning, definitely advisory level into Tuesday. Our biggest impacts again are going to probably be blowing dust. We did have blowing dust yesterday, but not very much. It really depends on the extent of the fields are plowed. But the most likely area is north of Idaho Falls and around Yale. If there's going to be any road closures, that would be it. Near American Falls, likely to have some blowing dust issues too as well. But the worst areas tend to be in this type of storm near Yale on I-84 and then I-15 north of Idaho Falls. And then also potentially some power outages, and then just small trees down, and then of course your tumbleweeds will be back. Here's the snow amounts, as I mentioned, more likely range instead of the high and low end. Stanley 4 to 6, and then you can see that orange, around 8 to 12 inches right along the western slopes, and then Galena Pass is around 6 to 7 inches. And as you go over to Pine Creek Pass, around 3 to 4 inches. And then as you go the Tetons, good 8 to 12 inches as you go to the Teton Pass area. So again, most of the snow will be above 6,500 feet, snow down to 6,000 feet. Snow levels will start quite high, particularly in our eastern areas around 7,000 feet, and then they'll drop quite a bit. Right around that 6,000 feet. It will go as low as 5,500, but most of the precip will be over by that point. And then here's your low temps on Tuesday morning, near freezing to below freezing in the mountains. And the more significant temperatures come in by Tuesday. And you can see the highs in the 40s and 30s, 40s in the lower areas and 30s in the mountains. And then Wednesday morning, low 20s across the area and teens for the mountains. And then Wednesday, we do warm up to just below normal, about 3 to 5 degrees below normal. Clear skies, nice weather on Wednesday, and then we continue to warm up with high pressure building in. By Friday, you can see quite a bit above normal, 10 to 15 degrees above normal by Friday, and nice conditions. Potential for another system on Saturday, though. This is still a little bit out there, though. So nice conditions today will quickly make way for a strong system moving into our area. Mainly the biggest impact is going to be winds and just blowing dust, and then impacts for high profile vehicles, possible power outages, definitely a return of the tumbleweeds, and then snow above 6,500 feet, particularly for the western slopes of the central mountains, and then also along the Wyoming border to a lesser degree, because they'll have a much higher snow level to start with. We'll have rain and then turn to snow, but won't have as much snow as the Sawtooths and the central mountains, particularly the northern central mountains. And then the winds will remain, strong. They start by noon on Monday and then peak around 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and then they remain quite elevated, if not high wind warning criteria, at least wind advisory through Tuesday. And then high pressure builds in, and we become much cooler on Wednesday, and then we warm up Thursday onward. So that concludes the briefing. If you have any questions, give us a call at this number. Thanks.